Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today. This workshop is a Toronto Public Library workshop. It's part of the Career Coaches in Residence program. The title is Future Proof Your Career, Skills and Strategies for the Changing Workplace. My name is Sarah Atkinson. I'm a librarian at the Toronto Public Library, and I help oversee the Career Coaches in Residence program. Sorry. Before we begin this afternoon, I would like to acknowledge that the Toronto Public Library is situated on Indigenous land and Dish with One Spoon territory. This is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, the Wendat, and the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. Toronto Public Library gratefully acknowledges these Indigenous nations for their guardianship of this land. As a reminder, all of the Toronto Public Library workshops follow the online and social media policy statement of the Toronto Public Library, as well as the rules of conduct. So please be mindful of that when you're just being respectful in the chat box. And if you're interested in more information about either of those, you can find that on the general Toronto Public Library website. It's always available there. I have added links into the chat box as well if you're interested in taking a look at those. If you have any questions, you can add them into the chat box. We'll probably save questions to closer to the end, although Sangeeta, that's totally up to you how you want to do your workshop. Please note this session is recorded. So it's available as a recording after the session. So if you'd like a link to the session, you can email myself, ccir@tpl.ca, and I can send you a link. And you can, if you would like to share that with any colleagues or friends, you can do that as well. For today's session, I'm really happy to introduce one of this year's Career Coaches in Residence, Sangeeta Dikshi. Thank you, Sangeeta, for taking the time today for this workshop. Really looking forward to it. If you're not already aware, the Career Coaches in Residence program offers free remote career and job search help for younger adults through one-on-one appointments and workshops like the one today. So this current spring 2025 session runs until June 21st. Lots of time to book a one-on-one session with a career coach. We do have more workshops coming up as well. And you can email me if you'd like a list of all the workshops. I also added a link to the Career Coaches in Residence webpage that you can book an appointment through that webpage. All the programs are also posted on the webpage. If you have any troubles or you have any more questions, of course, feel free to email myself. The Career Coaches in Residence program is generously supported by lead donors Israeli Foundation and RBC Foundation. We do have a survey. I will add the link into the chat box closer to the end. If you have a few moments, really appreciate you taking the time to fill out the survey. Would love to know a little bit more about yourself and what brought you here today. If you complete the survey, you can enter a draw for a chance to win a gift card. And once again, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And I will now pass the mic over to Sangeeta.
Thank you, Sarah. Thanks for the lovely introduction and also talking more about TPL. It's always good to learn more about the offerings and the initiatives. So that's amazing. Good morning, everyone, once again, and thank you again for joining. I'm going to just quickly share the screen. Maybe if you could just in some way or form, let me know if you can share this. See the screen when I share it, just so I'm aware, because I am using a different laptop today. Sarah, do you see?
Looks good. Yeah.
Great. Yep. Awesome. So just, welcome to the program for, Future of Work. It's one of my favorite topics over the last few years, in fact, although it's not a new concept at all. But that's something that I'm really fascinated about. And I love to know what's going to be next, and just how do we be aware, and what do we do in keeping ourselves relevant to whatever jobs that we do. Having said that, just a brief introduction. Of course, Sarah already did mention, and just to add a little more about it is, I am a credentialed coach, which means I go through a rigorous or rather, I have gone through a rigorous process of credentialing, writing an exam to be an accredited coach, and I'm very passionate about career and leadership coaching and emotional intelligence. So the EQI 2.0 that you see there, it is a certification that I have on emotional intelligence, and I coach my clients outside of TPL with with just in understanding and helping them equip better with their emotional intelligence and how do they grow in their career or flourish in whatever they do. Having said that, let's officially start. You know, to the program, and I would like to start this with a conversation. If you could please type in the chat box, what is it that drew you today to the session? If you could just put in one word, couple of words, what motivated you or inspired you to register for today's program? I would love to know that. All right, so we already have Angelina here. Many people say that it is a bad time for changing workplace because of the crisis. What do you think about it? We'll come to that. Thanks for that question. Anyone else? If you want to secure a job, okay, great. So essentially, we want to know how do we make the transition, job hunting, newcomer to Canada. I am looking to start a new career, finding a better job, getting used to new technology. I'm currently a university student. The way my peers and everyone older than me talk about the workplace is daunting. I'm sorry, that you feel this way, but let's see how to manage, and if we are able to address. If not, feel free to book a session. And we have more. I'm curious about how companies are starting to incorporate new tech, such as AI. Great question or great thought there. So many new tools in the market that a more traditional workplace won't put in place for a while. Great thoughts, all of you. In fact, thank you so much for being, participative. And in fact, I almost forgot to share this. This is a safe space for you all to to be able to share your thoughts. And if you have any questions pertaining to today's topic, feel free to put that. And if we're not able to address everything today, you're more than welcome to book a session and we can talk further. We do have a limited time. So having said that, let's look at today's objectives, right? We are essentially, when you're all here to be able to understand what's happening, what are the challenges that's happening, right? Whether it is all these new tech and new AI tools coming up, or someone who's a new immigrant, trying to find a place in Canada, and how do they get their big break? That's really important. And then also understand what's the key trend currently that's shaping the future of work, which means 5 years from now, 10 years from now, what could happen, but what's the trending? So those changes don't happen overnight. Those changes happen drastically, and it's important for us to be able to keep an eye and be aware of what those trends are and how do we equip ourselves. And that's where you identify what are the in-demand skills as of now that's going to help you, regardless of whether you're a new immigrant, a new graduate, an experienced professional, a native Canadian. It applies to everyone across the industries today, right? And let's look at a few strategies to adapt, right? And how do we go with whatever changes are going around for all of us, right? Having said that, let me just throw this question to you. What does future of work mean to you? Just a one word, uh, you know, thought. Adaptability, great. Thanks, Claudia. The tools and technologies we are going to use in future, great. Must learn. Yep, thank you, Jinju and Abhinaya. And we have David saying change. how our works will change with AI. If you look at if you see my face staring closer to the screen, it's because the chat box is it's a small box there, so that's why. And I don't want to mess up with how my screen is right now, just for the sake of time. But that's why you're probably looking at me staring like that. But yeah, thank you, Phil. For me, work to live instead of living to work. Great philosophy. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Resilience. Yeah, that's thank you so much, everyone, for adding that, right? Yeah, for me, future of work is personally, I would say, very similar to what Phil, I resonate with that to be able to, work from where I am, so that I'm able to have a better family life better, and I'm not contained only to working for one, within one specific location, for certain reasons. So yeah, that's something that resonates with me here. Owner says be still employable in the new market. Absolutely, bang on. All of you, great points there. Thank you so much for sharing that. Tech and remotely connected. Thank you, Karen. Yeah, there's so much to it. If you look at the ideas pouring in about future of work, there is just lots of complexities, lots of layers that adds to what it is. Having said that, if you observed earlier, I said future of work, it's not a new term. It's been there right from, maybe the terminology is far more used now, but essentially it's been there since industrial revolution, right back in the 1920s, when probably, let's say, people had to, manufacturing unit had to pack, soup in a can. Instead of doing it manually, they brought in machinery, and then they had automation systems. So slowly, that's how the revolution started. And it's just that today, given AI and how quickly things are changing, we see the changes happen far more quicker than how it was in the past, right? And that's where we got to be aware of what's happening around and what are the key trends. And before we get into that, let's look at some of the challenges in the evolving workplace, right? Currently, so this slide, interesting. There were two slides that I added this morning, in fact, because I came across an article by World Economic Forum on my LinkedIn page, and I was like, this is going to be such a great value addition to you all, and I wanted to add that. Although the report is from January 2025, they did the post was done today, with regards to what are the evolving what's happening around, and what to expect. So according to them, and the report for January 2025 till 2030, that's where the projection is, future of work. What have they identified so far? 63% of employers see skill gap as a major barrier. This is today, in 2025. And there's 85% of them who are planning to, in some way or form, help their employees upskill and be adaptable to the changes that's going to happen in the next few years, right? And nearly 60% of workers will require some sort of a training, by 2030 in order to be relevant. And that's a very important aspect to remember. There was someone who also said, to be relevant in today's job market and the future job market, it's really important that we understand, how do we navigate this, and that's where the challenge comes from, because currently we are used to only certain ways of working, and until AI took over, it will, or I don't want to use the word took over, sorry, it's not the right word. It was introduced to the larger public in a much larger form. um, you know Changes where it was not as quick as what we see today. It's far more quicker, and that is why it's important to acknowledge that the skill gaps that we have, and how do we equip ourselves? What do we do? How do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Right? Ibrahim, I'm sorry, I just saw you. Oh yeah, thank you, Sarah. You addressed that. Thank you there. All right. So in continuation with that, let's look at what are the current shifts, right? This is a lot of these things will not be new to you. I'm pretty sure you're